Hi everyone. I thought we'd do a quick lesson on how to simplify learning both the major-minor pentatonic and the major-minor blues scale. So in previous lessons we've talked about how every scale has a certain sort of shape and landscape to it. It has a pattern. This is no different for the caged fingerings of the pentatonic scales or the blues scales. So pentatonic scales basically are created by taking either a major-minor scale, however you want to think about it, and removing two of the notes in the scale, two specific notes. So basically that leaves you with this fingering pattern where you end up with three small shapes followed by two big shapes, or two bigs followed by three smalls, however it makes sense to think about that. And then you have five interlocking boxes, and they each start somewhere within those five string repeating pairs of the pattern. So I'm just going to start it here on the 3rd fret. This would be thought of as a G minor scale, G minor pentatonic scale. You can also think of it as B flat major pentatonic, depending on where you start, but we'll just start there. This is your typical box 1 thing. All right, so remember it's three smalls and two bigs. Well, this first box pattern starts on the last big, and then watch, it's going to go three smalls, and then it returns to two bigs. So you can hear that it's the same as, but up 2 octaves. Okay, so there's that one. Now, it's real simple. It just starts where the last one leaves off. So this next one starts right here, 3 frets higher, so that was the 3rd fret. Here's the 6th fret. It's going to be on the last of the small shapes. Then it shifts, and it goes 2 bigs, and then 3 smalls. There's a shift right here to the 6th fret. Okay, so that one was there. By the way, you can think about different ways of fingering this. Some people would finger that 2-4, like 2-4 or 1-4, 1-4, 1-3, and then 2-4, 2-4. Or some people move around with this for big and this for small. I'm just doing that so you can visualize it. Both are useful depending on what you're playing. So it's good to maybe like start with one that's comfortable for you to not mess up and get around memorizing the scale, and then gradually acquire other fingerings. All right, so we had left off at that 2nd box pattern, leaving off there at the 8th fret. So the next one comes in here. This is box 3. It's going to start on the first of the 3 smalls. There's 3 smalls, then a little shift here, 2 big shapes, shift back to the 8th fret, and then it returns to a small again. Okay, and then we go to 10th fret. So now this is on the first of the big shapes. So 2 bigs, 3 smalls. Remember, there's a shift here to the, and then it shifts back to the 10th fret to restart at another big. So then this gets us all the way to the 13th fret, and this is our final box. This one's kind of easy because it looks kind of symmetrical. It's on the middle small, so it's going to look like 2 smalls, 2 bigs, 2 smalls. And that's it. That's how the thing works, and it recycles itself. Okay, so what is an easy way to memorize where the majors and minors are? Well, we can use that shape to help us. I mean, of course, learning your notes is a good idea too, but we want to get you up and running, all right? So let's say if we go back to that first box position, let's identify it based on the location of where it is on the bigs and smalls. So if you look at the 2nd big, the minor note's right there on the first note of the 2nd big shape, always. The major target is always on the 2nd note of the 2nd big pattern. So if I went, sounds happy. If I start there, sounds kind of sad or dark or aggressive or minor sounding. So that's one location. Okay. The other location can be found around the small shapes. So you have these 3 small shapes. The minor target is right there. It's on the 2nd note of the 2nd small. The major target is on the 1st note of the 3rd small. So there it is right there. So you can always use those as markers. You're thinking minor, major, right between your smalls, 1st small, 2nd small, minor, 3rd small, major. Then you got your 2 bigs, minor, major. And as long as you started out knowing your patterns, then you can easily map that to the box position and find it. Now this brings us to blues scales, major-minor blues scales. So I advocate learning your pentatonics first, because if we know that thing, all the patterns and the sequences of smalls and bigs, we can use that once again to track where the blue note goes. So the blue note will always be found inside of the first small. So here's big shape, small, here's the blue note, and then 2nd small, and then 3rd small, octaves, that note mirrors right there. Now that's true of every box. So like for example, if we go to, the second box here, here's the small shape. This is the last small shape. The blue note's going to be on top. Then it goes two bigs. First small shape again, it's starting over here. It's in between. Second, nothing. Third small on top. So you kind of learn how to use them, how to slur to them, and bend to them. That's also true. Now, you might start to realize that, let's say if I've got, that note's mirrored here back behind the first big shape. And that's true. It's technically in the next box position, but you can start to visualize it. So that's kind of a true thing too. So it's literally as simple as that. So I would start with pentatonic, get comfortable with the patterns and understanding why it has to work that way, and figure out what your fingering is going to be, try different fingerings, gradually acquire more, and then find your major minor targets, get comfortable with that, starting in the right place so it sounds good over the chords you're playing, and then add the blue note and get comfortable with doing the same thing, still starting on the major minor targets, but bringing in the blue note when you want it to sound extra jazzy bluesy. And then eventually you're going to take that and blend it with everything you know modally from other scales like your major scale, and you'll get all sorts of different notes out of that. But that's where you have to start with it. It takes a little bit of time, but if you think about it that way, understanding how the puzzle pieces lock together, rather than just trying to memorize nonsense, it's going to be a lot easier to get it up and running. So I hope that's helped you out. Please see the links in the description below if you'd like to work with me as an instructor or as a studio guitar player on your projects. Thanks a lot.